Welcome everyone to Western Mass News Digital Edition. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. We start today in Springfield, where there are new efforts underway to improve public safety in recreational areas.
An announcement by the Hampden County Sheriff's Office stated that there will now be dedicated crews in the areas of Johnny Appleseed and Rebecca Johnson Park. Now, all of it comes after concerns from residents stemming back to this summer.
Crews were at the parks earlier today getting a head start on the cleaning. Officials note that the primary concerns have been needles, which have been prominent in the areas specifically designed for kids to play. Tune in to Western Mass News tonight at 6 for more feedback from neighbors and city leaders.
Local food pantries here in Western Mass are preparing for the chance of a long-term government shutdown. And we spoke with Executive Director of the Western Mass Food Bank, Andrew Morehouse, today. He says approximately 25% of their food supply comes from the federal government. Morehouse states that they've been preparing for a shutdown like this for quite some time. He also states that the cost of living has brought a higher demand of supplies for those struggling with food insecurity.
On this Thursday, a Pittsfield man's been found guilty of murdering a man in his King Street home back in 2022. Michael Rose was found guilty yesterday and today has been sentenced to 20 years to life in state prison. In February 2022, Rose walked into the home of Derek Black, shooting him in the stomach before leaving the scene. Black was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Rose was then arrested after a woman who he relied on for transportation told police she drove him to and from that scene that night, and he'd borrowed her phone to speak with Black.
Also breaking this evening, a Massachusetts gym teacher now facing child porn charges after being arrested by state police. 60-year-old Stephen McDonough of Waltham, who's a gym teacher at several schools in that area, has been arrested for the possession and dissemination of child pornography. Authorities say they received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in late August and conducted a search warrant of McDonough's home on September 25th. Evidence was found in the house and on his phone, prompting the arrest. McDonough is now being held on $25,000 bail and isn't allowed to be in contact with anyone under 18.
2 people are dead and at least 3 others are injured after an attack outside a British synagogue. Police say a suspect rammed his car toward a group of people in a northern England suburb. Another man was also stabbed. The suspected attacker is believed to be dead, with police saying he was shot by officers. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says more police will be sent to synagogues countrywide. This incident occurred on Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day in the Jewish calendar.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is 3:35 on your Thursday afternoon. Another beautiful day today. A chilly start for sure, but we've seen temperatures come up into the low to mid 60s. Lots of 30s this morning, though, but we're sitting at 63 now. Certainly a fall jacket type of day today, but just great October weather. And it's going to continue. In fact, we have a significant warm-up on the way as well. But we're going to cool down tonight, hanging out in the 60s right now, low to mid-60s, even some upper 50s already. We're thinking tonight temperatures will be down in the 30s just about everywhere, just like they were last night, and can't rule out maybe just a touch of frost. You can see dew points are in the 30s, so with a clear sky tonight and with that cool air mass in place, temperatures will fall to the dew points with a calm wind. So a big warm-up. It commences tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures come up into the 70s, and we're going to be over 80 come this weekend. Lots of sunshine all the way through. Next chance of rain still doesn't arrive until next Wednesday. So one more chilly night tonight, or at least a night where we could see just a touch of frost, especially north and west of Springfield. It'll still be chilly tomorrow night, but we're in the 40s for overnight lows, and those overnight lows come up as we head into this upcoming weekend, and rain chances nil all the way through and into next week. Next chance of rain is not until Wednesday of next week. So your 24 showing sunshine, just a few high clouds, clear skies tonight, plenty of sun tomorrow. But look at that. At this time tomorrow, we'll be in the low 70s, maybe low to mid 70s, as opposed to the 60s as high pressure shifts from our northwest to the southeast and just spreads out across the United States. And it's going to bring in that warm air with that flow around high pressure. So 74 tomorrow, 80 on Saturday, mid 80s on Sunday. and the dew points will generally be in the 40s. They'll start to creep up into the 50s Sunday into Monday, and both Sunday and Monday we could be talking about temperatures in the mid-80s, close to record highs perhaps for those dates. Keep in mind, normal highs about 68 or 69, and the dew points start to creep up into the 50s, so a tiny bit of mugginess, especially for this time of year. But for tonight, it's mainly clear, chilly, calm, dry, temperatures 34 to 38. Then tomorrow we'll start in the 30s to near 40. We're going to end up, though, warmer than today by about 10 degrees or so, 8 to 10 degrees, with temperatures in the low to mid 70s, about 72 to 75 in Springfield. Along the shoreline with the breeze out of the west will warm up into the lower 70s as well. Beautiful day. And how about Saturday? Temperatures will come up to near 80 in the valley, 70s in the hills, lower 70s out across the Cape. More of a beach day as opposed to, one of those apple picking days, but just brilliant day on Saturday. Not too muggy either. Dew points in the 40s. It gets a little bit of mugginess coming in on Sunday. Look at that. Temperatures will come up into the mid 80s. Your next system doesn't come in until Wednesday. That's when we could see periods of rain, showers, downpours. Gets a little muggy out ahead of that front, perhaps even a rumble of thunder. But it's dry all the way through until then with tons of sunshine. And then we could go through another dry stretch after that into next week. But it does come with a cooler feel. All right, that's your forecast. Amanda and Chris, back to you.
Dan, thank you. Delta Airlines is launching new nonstop flights from New York's JFK Airport to Porto in Portugal.
It's one of 7 new European routes that launch next summer. Those flights to Porto begin in May of 2026. There will also be nonstop flights from Boston to Madrid and Nice, France, plus enhanced flights to Barcelona and Milan.
In addition, there will be direct flights from Seattle to Barcelona and Rome. Flights to Ireland will also get a boost. There will be 3 additional weekly flights between Detroit and Dublin. Pretty exciting. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching today's Western Mass News Digital Edition.
Be sure to tune in to Western Mass News at 4 on ABC 40 coming up soon. Have a great day.